Here's how this works. Water, salt, and pepper, those are freebies. Your pantry, it better have flour, oil, vinegar, mustard, and garlic. Beyond that, you'll only need 5 more ingredients and 25 minutes to put an entree or entire meal on the table. So, shop, set the clock, and let's dish out. All right, we'll require the services of, well, just 1 egg, some green onions, some ham. I like to cube my own, but if you buy the pre-cubed stuff, that's just fine. Some extra sharp cheddar cheese, which we will grate ourselves, and the key ingredient, some frozen puff pastry. Go ahead and defrost that, by the way. We'll start off by finally slicing or dicing a few strips of green onions or scallions, and then we'll take our ham steak here. Got about 1 pound or so, and that's actually more than we need for 6 of these little snack pockets, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it all up and probably snack on a little bit of it while I cook. For the puff pastry, we'll lay down a little bit of flour out of the pantry, of course. And we don't want to really flatten this out too far. We just want to even out the dimensions so that it is roughly a square. Make sure that those seams in the middle are nice and flat and of an even thickness as well, so we don't have any weak points in our crust here. Once we've got it nice and rolled out, we're just going to go ahead and sort of visually divide this up into 6 little rectangles or squares, and lay down a couple ounces of ham in each one. Doesn't have to be perfect. Next up, on top of those little piles of ham, as you can see, we're going to go ahead and try and keep some separation between each pile. We'll add in a tiny little handful of green onions. And guys, this is a great time to mention you could fill these or stuff these with just about anything. I mean, some pepperoni, pizza sauce, and mozzarella would be amazing. Some cooked steak, peppers, onions, and cheese would be awesome as well. Basically, any flavor or ingredient combination that your heart desires and can cook in about 15 minutes as a puff pastry, it can go in here. So I'm going to pile on some cheese, really mound it up, and then I'm going to smush it down just a little bit to make sure that our top layer of dough isn't propped up too high away from the bottom layer of dough. And then you do want to make sure that these seams, these little edges, do not have any cheese or filling in them. That way when we brush on the egg wash, which is what we're doing right here, they'll seal really nicely. That's just 1 beaten egg with a little splash of water thrown in. We're going to lay down that top piece of dough, which we rolled out just the same as the bottom. And in fact, I rolled it out just slightly larger so that there was no issues with it reaching edge to edge. We'll use our fingers just to crimp these things between each pile of filling. And then once they're crimped, we'll go around the outside with a fork to seal these very thoroughly. You could do this with your fingers. Don't have to use a fork, but it is a little bit easier that way. And then finally, I'm going to take a pizza cutter or a sharp knife and just cut between each of these little snack pockets. Of course, those edges will also need to be sealed. So I'm going to go ahead and relocate these to a well lubricated baking sheet and go ahead and seal up those remaining edges. I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees. I'm going to cut a few slits in each one of these for steam to escape. And the final step is to grab that egg wash again and brush these very thoroughly. Make sure they're all evenly coated with that egg wash. And then we'll pop them in that oven for 12 to 15 minutes or just until they are golden brown and that filling is bubbly. Everything in here is really cooked. We're just trying to melt that cheese and warm that ham up. Now, I may have hit these with a little everything bagel seasoning from the pantry. Well, not our pantry, but my actual pantry. But just some flaky sea salt on the outside or nothing at all would be absolutely delightful here. You do have to let these cool off for a few minutes after they come out of the oven, lest the steam utterly burn your fingertips and the mouth, or the roof of your mouth, I should say. But check out that beautiful cross section. We've got steam and ooey gooey cheese, absolutely moist, succulent ham, and then the star of the show here, that beautifully flaky puff pastry crust. Well, just like the things you get out of the freezer section, these things are absolutely nuclear out of the oven. So give them a few minutes, give them a blow, and then take an absolutely delightful bite. I mean, salty, cheesy, crunchy, gooey, just an absolute flavor explosion and textural delight. As I said before, guys, stuff these or fill them with anything that you like. It's a great way to get a little snack or a light meal with a side salad if you so choose. I hope you'll make these, make them your own, or at the very least, go make something delicious.